all you're doing is paying down your landlord's mortgage and building wealth for them instead of for you. Okay, today is episode 2 in our first-time homebuyer series. Today we are going to talk about something kind of scary, which is the difference between the net worth of a homeowner versus the net worth of a renter. Net worth is going to be all of the assets that you own subtracted by all of the debts that you own, and that's going to be your net worth. So what owning actually does for your net worth over time is really amazing, and why someday is going to be actually more expensive. Saying someday I will buy a house, that's actually going to cost you more money in the long run of not building equity. So the fear here isn't about the math, it's usually about permanence. So renting feels flexible and buying feels like a trap. And that's kind of normal because if you think about it, we have been sort of programmed to think that debt is dangerous and freedom is safe. So I could absolutely understand why having that debt would be or could feel scary to you. The actual danger isn't actually the mortgage. The real danger is the years spent building zero equity when you're renting, believing you're playing it safe, but really all you're doing is paying down your landlord's mortgage and building wealth for them instead of for you. So rent does buy you a couple things. It buys you a place to stay for exactly 1 month, nothing more, or the duration of the lease. And at the end of that lease, you're going to own exactly what you owned the day that you signed it, which is nothing. You're not going to own the property. You're not going to have any interest in the property. You're not going to have any guarantee that you're going to continue to have a place to stay. You're certainly not going to be able to paint the living room. Do not misinterpret renting as freedom. It's kind of actually the opposite. It is tying you to somebody else's property while you're paying down their mortgage and building their wealth. You are not building equity. So let's talk about what a traditional mortgage payment actually does and what it is. So there's going to be multiple parts of the mortgage payment. So you're going to be paying interest. So that's going to be what you pay to the bank for the privilege of having the mortgage. And then you're going to also be paying down principal. The principal is the money that you are paying toward what you actually owe on your home. And that is actually moving it into your own asset. So it's almost like having a savings account every single month. The interest goes away, but what you're paying down on your principal is actually like savings. And it is such a great way to start to build equity. There also might be taxes and insurance, and those are just fees that are paid, not fees. There are a portion of your payment that are going to be escrowed or held by your mortgage company. So when those big bills come due, usually once a year, or sometimes twice a year in taxes, your lender can actually pay those big bills for you. And that will make it feel a lot less like a big hit when those bills come. I really want to talk about this crazy study that came out from the Federal Reserve. The first time I saw it was in 2022. And when I heard these numbers, my face actually melted off a little bit. So in 2022, there's a survey of consumer finances, and the median net worth of a homeowner, and their household was just shy of $400,000. I think it was $396,500 compared to the net worth of a household of renters, which was roughly $10,410. And that gap has only been widening because, of course, then I went down a rabbit hole. In 2019, a homeowner's net worth was $295,000 and a renter's net worth was about $7,000. So what I want to make sure that you hear here is how much more homeowners' net worth is than a renter's. So if you look at that Fed data and you realize now that it's now closer to $430,000 in 2025 because there's a National Association of Realtors study that they published in 2025. So, okay, that same data, right? So now we're at $430,000 for homeowners and $10,000 for a renter. So that gap is 43 times. So that means that a homeowner in general is going to have a net worth that is 43 times higher than a renter's. Now, if that is not a reason to get into the housing market, I really do not know what is. So homeowners have historically built more net worth on average. And so and I can't guarantee that, your net worth as soon as you buy a house is going to be $430,000. Of course, this is looking at a huge group of the population, but I can guarantee that you're going to be going in the right direction. So I want to share a story. It's two sisters I know. I actually have known them for a really long time. And they were actually students of mine when I was a teacher at Savannah Arts Academy. But one has moved to Chicago and is a current renter. And the other one actually went off to school and came back to Savannah and started a family here. And it's really interesting because the one who started the family here, she's now on her second home. We sold her first home and she had almost $150,000 in equity after she had owned it for 11 years. She bought her next home and she was able to put that money down on the house. This new house really suits her really well. And since then, we've actually started looking at investment properties because she has some equity that she can pull out of her primary residence to put down to continue to build her wealth. And her sister is living in Chicago in a rental, and we were talking about it, and she cannot believe that her sister just can't seem to get ahead. And I think what that really comes down to is that she's paying down somebody else's mortgage as rent, and her sister here in Savannah is paying down her own mortgage and as a result is building her own wealth. And it's unbelievable to me because I told them this story about $430,000 versus $10,000. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's us. That's exactly us. Almost exactly, which I just want to make sure that you understand how important it is that homeowners are paying down their own mortgages and renters are paying down their landlord's mortgages. I think the big fear here is what if you buy and then things go wrong? So yes, you could lose your job. Yes, the market could change. You could need to move. There could be like a familial change. So all of those things would also happen if you were renting. So renting doesn't actually prevent you from any of these things. It just means that you are taking the same risks, but you're not getting the return of paying down your mortgage. So buying is a real commitment and it's absolutely not going to be right for everyone at every moment. But for people that are delaying out of fear rather than a real reason, the fear is probably doing more damage than the risk would in terms of delaying your ability to build wealth over time. Okay, so let's talk about some of the great books that I have read. When Lily was 19, I gave her a book called Set for Life. And this book is about wealth building, but it's not about one big move. It's about doing a lot of little things that are going to add up. And one of the main things is to get your money working for you instead of working for somebody else's mortgage. And if you're really stuck in, being afraid of how to get your money to work for you, there's a fantastic book called The Psychology of Money that I definitely recommend. None of this is about getting rich quick. It's about moving in the right direction and make sure that your money is working toward you and for you and not for somebody else and paying down their mortgage. So renting isn't just the safe choice. It's the choice that's going to keep your money moving in the wrong direction. And buying, even if your first home is not your absolute dream home, it's not a giant leap. It's about taking a step into something that's going to help you build wealth over time. I just can't tell you enough how much home buying and investing has made a difference in my own personal life. It's unbelievable to me what we have been able to accomplish in the 23 years now that we've been in the housing game. And I really hope that you choose it for yourself as well. So, in 10 or 15 years, we can look back and you can have a $430,000 net worth versus your sister with a $10,000 net worth or whomever. I just really encourage you to take one step forward and see if buying is the right thing for you to do. And we're going to continue in this series. Next up is going to be about how to know if you've saved enough, how to know if you're financially ready. So hopefully this video has helped you maybe dispel some of the fears around buying and understanding that in buying a home, you're making your money work for you by paying down your own mortgage instead of somebody else's. So if you are interested in our first-time home buyer guide, please take a look in the comments. There's going to be a link there to sign up to receive it. It'll come right to your inbox instantaneously. And if you need anything else, you can visit us online at sellingSavannahHomes.com. And we are the Harris Home Team at Keller Williams.